Hey guys, welcome back to RPO Restorations. I was getting ready to do a little work on the Cutlass and I figured I'd film it and put it out there because it may be a problem some of you guys are having. Back when I restored this car, I replaced all the weather stripping. Well now, my driver's side T-top is rattling around. It's driving me crazy every time I hit a bump. There's a really simple, really easy fix. So if this is a problem that affects you, stay tuned, we're gonna knock it out. Okay, so just to give you an example of what I'm going to be doing here, I can't take credit for these ideas. I actually got it from a book called How to Eliminate Window Rattles and Wind Noise by Pete Serio. It's available at gbodyparts.com. I'm sure you can find it other places. If I can figure out a link, I'll put it in the description. But this has actually been a great book. It goes through step by step how to adjust the glass, how to get rid of all these little problems that G-bodies usually have. But in the book, he talks about the dollar bill test. And what the dollar bill test is you put it between the glass and the weather stripping, or in our case, between the T-top and the weather stripping, lock it down, see how much resistance there is when you go to pull it out. Now mine, I'm getting a little bit of resistance, but it's not where I'd like it to be. And as you move down, it gets even easier to pull it out. So today, I'm going to show you how to tighten these things up, get them to clamp down a little bit more on the weather stripping, and get rid of that annoying rattle noise and some of these water leaks you may be experiencing. All right, the first step to adjusting your T-top or T-top clamping force is to remove the trim panel. Now I'm pointing at the passenger side here, but the driver's side is going to be exactly the same. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 Phillips head screws that hold the trim in place. There's also another Phillips head screw that holds the handle in place. What you're going to want to do is remove all those, remove the plastic trim panel here, and then get your handle back on so you can test it as you go. All right, now I've moved over to the driver's side. This is the one they're going to be adjusting. This is what you're going to find when you remove the trim piece from your T-top. Now you notice on each side, we have 2 bolts and an adjustable piece of metal that we can slide up and down once those bolts are loosened. That is the bracket that's going to determine how much clamping force your T-top puts when you hit the catch. So what we're going to do is we're going to loosen these bolts up, kind of push down and tighten things up a little bit. You don't want to go too crazy because you have a plastic bushing in here, and the more force or clamping force that you're putting down, the more stress you're going to put on that bushing. So don't go too crazy. You don't want these things locked in there to where you really have to yank the handle to get them to lock down, but you do want them to be firm. All right, so I've taken a 7mm wrench and I've loosened up the back bracket on this T-top. Now you can see it's clamped down, but now I can manipulate it. Now it's really loose, now it's really tight. So I'm going to adjust these, put a little weight, kind of pull down on this. I can't do it with one hand, but then I'm going to tighten these nuts up again, or these bolts up again, and get this thing to clamp down a little bit more, especially on the back end. Then I'm going to repeat and do the same thing with the front. All right guys, so I just finished readjusting the front half here. Now I'm going to hop out of the car. I'm going to give it a try. Handle pull feels a little firmer. We're going to give it our dollar bill test. Hang on, let me get the dollar bill. Get this guy in here. Clamp things down. Now we're getting a nice drag. We're getting a nice firm seal. That's exactly where we want it without going too crazy to where you got to put weight on the top or really use a lot of strength to crank it down. That's too much and you're going to crack that bushing. You want to find a spot right in between. All right, guys, so that's it. That's all it takes to adjust the amount of force that your T-top uses to clamp down onto the car. Hopefully, this will eliminate some of that wind noise, some of those rattles, and a little bit of that water seepage for use, although you can't eliminate all of it. So thanks for tuning in. I'll see you on the next one.